They say solitude is the best cure for a crowded mind. I believed them, until that night. The forest was quiet, unnervingly so, as I pitched my tent at the edge of the lake. The stillness felt oppressive, the kind of silence that makes your own breathing sound invasive. I convinced myself it was peaceful, even when the setting sun bled red into the lake's mirrored surface. By the time I started the fire, night had swallowed the forest. My lantern cast flickering shadows on the surrounding trees, their twisted branches reaching like claws. I sipped coffee from a tin mug, telling myself the chill crawling up my spine was just the evening cold. The first sound came just past midnight. It was faint, barely audible over the crackle of the fire, something shuffling in the leaves. A raccoon, maybe. I told myself I was being paranoid. The woods were full of life after all. I stayed by the fire, staring into the flames, refusing to turn around. Then I heard it again, closer this time. A deliberate crunch, as though someone, or something, was stepping lightly but purposefully. "Hello?" I called, my voice unnaturally loud in the stillness. No response, only silence, deep and suffocating, like the forest itself was holding its breath. I grabbed my flashlight, its beam cutting through the darkness in sharp, trembling arcs. The trees stood like sentinels, their trunks pale and smooth in the light. I saw nothing, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. I retreated to the tent, zipping it closed with trembling hands. I clutched my hunting knife, the blade a poor comfort against whatever was out there. I told myself I'd imagined it all. The woods can play tricks on you, right? I don't know how long I sat there, straining to hear over the pounding of my heart. Hours. Minutes. Time seemed to stretch and warp, and then it came. A scraping sound, soft at first, then louder, something dragging itself across the nylon of the tent. My breath caught in my throat as I stared at the faint outline of a hand pressed against the fabric. "Who's there?" I demanded, my voice shaking. The hand moved slowly, tracing the curve of the tent as if savoring the moment. It wasn't human. The fingers were too long, the proportions all wrong. The scraping stopped. The silence returned, heavier than before. I gripped the knife tighter, every muscle in my body coiled like a spring. Suddenly, the entire tent shook violently, the force knocking me backward. I screamed, slashing wildly at the air as the walls of the tent collapsed around me. I stumbled out, blinded by the cold night air and the weak beam of my flashlight. The fire had gone out. The woods were darker than before, a black void swallowing everything. I shone the flashlight around, desperate to see what had attacked me, and then I saw them. Eyes, dozens of them, reflecting the light in the darkness, unblinking and inhuman. I ran. I don't know how I made it out of those woods. I don't know what was out there. But I do know one thing. I will never camp alone again.